20 minutes later, Janet was driving down the snow-packed highway, trying to avoid the deep ruts that were running along the shoulder of the road. The car skated back and forth, drifting dangerously close to the snow-packed shoulder of the road. She backed the wipers off as the exit ramp from I-80 neared. On it was a semi moving at a fair clip. As it merged onto County Route 82, she moved into the passing lane. "Just what I need," she growled. Her heart raced as she braced her hands on the wheel. The truck sprayed slush at her windshield. The road suddenly disappeared. Thunk! The wheel jerked loose in her hands, and the car dove, knifing into the darkness until it jolted to a halt. Janet sat shaking for several minutes. Her throat burned, and the taste of bile swam in her mouth. She swallowed, forced it down, and gulped a deep breath. The sound of her heart thumped in her ears. Her head ached. "Am I okay?" Gingerly she moved her legs and then her arms. Nothing hurt. That was good. She pulled the key out of the ignition, sat back, tried to make sense of what had happened. Truck, slush, windshield, can't see, steering wheel, ouch! Her wrist, it hurt. She rubbed it. The car! Shit! Was there a huge gash on the front end? A tire turned under like a broken ankle? She brought her hands to her head, kneaded her aching neck. She looked out the driver's side window. Snow was up to the rearview mirror. Getting out that way was impossible. She crawled across to the passenger side and peered out, put her shoulder to the door, and pushed it open. Outside, the wind whipped across the median, and icy grit slapped her face. She burrowed her head into the lapel of her coat and trudged through the knee-deep snow. Think, Janet, think! But the only thing that came to mind was to walk. But to where? She ground her hands into her pockets and kicked at a chunk of hard-packed snow. Tears collected in her eyes and slipped over her cheeks. "What am I going to do? I'm so screwed," she muttered, plopping back against the rear of the car. As she stood there, a pair of bright headlights came over the crest of the road. A moment later, a large pickup slowed down and pulled up behind her. The driver's side window slid down. "You okay?" said a voice from inside. She nodded as the door opened and a man got out. He was big, towering over her. In the dark of night, he looked like a monster out of a B-budget movie. She backed up, keeping her distance. He put up his hand. "It's okay. I'm here to help. You look like you're freezing. Why don't you get in my truck while I call a wrecker?" "No, I'm okay, really." He trudged closer, and she saw a ruddy, hard-bitten face. Mysterious dark eyes stared back. A bushy mustache spilled out under a broad nose. A mop of short, curly hair tickled his ears. Add a beard and a red suit, and she could easily imagine him being Santa Claus. But he wasn't Santa Claus, and he was there with her on a dark road in the middle of the night. There was nothing between them except the wind and her long-distance running legs, which were one step away from being jelly. "All right," he said. "At least let me get you a blanket." He went back to his truck and brought her a thick woolen wrap reeking of smoke. He handed it to her with an outstretched hand. "So what happened?" "I was run off the road by a semi," she said, pulling the blanket around her shoulders. The man shook his head. "Damn cowboys!" He eyed her, then the car, then back at her again. "You sure you're all right?" "Yeah, I'm okay." She backed up a step and turned around, sizing up the damage to her car. It didn't look like there were any dents or creases. It was buried. "If I could just get it out, no one would ever have to know. But doing it will need his help. That means—" She chewed her lip. "You think we could pull it out of there?" "The car?" "Yeah." "Not without chains.